And welcome to the Daily Word, our continued conversation through Scripture, and our continued conversation as we journey through life together for all of these days. Today, Daily Word number 808, 808. It's a cold, chilly Tuesday morning. When Weston and I went to school this morning, he said, "Papa, your car is frozen," and it was. Not ready for this, but it's a beautiful sunny day. And of course, tonight we have trunk or treat. And it's going to be chilly, but you know, kids want to go trick or treating. I don't blame them. And so we are going to have hot dogs and popcorn, hot chocolate and coffee, and lots of good things to give out. So hopefully you're going to come help, bring your car, pass out goodies, or bring your children or your grandchildren to come share in the festivities in the safe space where we can gather. So that's tonight at 6 o'clock. So I've chosen for our scripture this morning from the book of Job, chapter 13, verses 17 through 18. Now we know the story of Job, right? Everything's taken from him. He has sores on his body. He's scraping them with potsherds. His wife tells him just to give up and curse God, and he doesn't do that. But we hear this part of the story because I think it gives us an interesting perspective about difficult circumstances in our lives. Listen carefully to what I say. Let my words ring in your ears. Now that I have prepared my case, I know I will be vindicated. So when we have difficult circumstances in our lives, and we all do, and when they find their way, when they creep in, we often react the way that Job does in these verses. We petition for a trial. We want God to hear us, and we say, "Look, God, if you just hear our side of the story, if you just listen to me just this one time, if you would listen to my perspective, things could be different." And that's a tempting course to take. And probably we've all taken that course. I know I have. You know, God, if you just listen to me, you know, and I've prepared my case, just take into consideration what it is that I want to do. Decide in my favor. And if God would listen, you know, God could surely change things for us. But it's interesting. I got to thinking about this early this morning. You know, the time hasn't changed yet. You know, it's dark and not ready for all that, and it's cold. And thinking about this scripture and thinking about my perspective on things. You know, on health struggles, on grief, you know, on worry, on fear, on the future. Well, the list goes on, right? On helping take care of grandkids and all the things that I have to do. I just think about my perspective, and I wish, you know, sometimes I say, I wish people would see it my way one time. I wish God would see it my way and make the path easier. But then I realized this morning that my perspective is skewed, of course, always in my favor, right? And it doesn't always work out the best. God doesn't need more of our perspective, but we need more of God's perspective. Even if the evidence kind of makes sense in our favor, as it does with Job, I think God understands for us at a deeper spiritual, soul, heart level than we do. And God eventually tells Job that very same thing in this overhaul that changes his life. I think the secret for us and for me, and it's really quiet here today, and that's a tough perspective. Sometimes, a lot of times I don't mind. Today, I'm really struggling with the quiet. Luckily for me, a couple of folks have texted me this morning. Dustin, my son, texted me this morning about a couple of things. Kind of break up the monotony. I think one of the ways that we live the best and trust God the most is to realize that God knows already where we're coming from. God understands. And God knows what we think and knows what we want even better than we do. And the circumstances of life, they're not accusations. They're simply where we are and where we have to make choices in our lives. Job's circumstances, of course, are tough. They're really tough. And many of ours are tough as well. And we can't wish away the circumstances. We can't wish away where we are. We can't demand our own verdict. Instead, we have to trust that the Creator, that God, is present with us to teach us and to guide us through every single circumstance. It's natural to seek the comfortable side of our circumstances, of course, right? But it's more difficult, but yet more satisfying, more soul-giving, more life-giving when we know that God is with us in this journey. Job just said, look, God, just listen to me. And I know you'll vindicate me. I just know you'll see my side of the story. Friends, we have to just remember, take into perspective, realize, trust that God is with us deep inside of us in our life's journey. And maybe the hardest thing for me is realizing that God's ahead of me, paving the way, asking me to make right choices, asking me to walk on the right path. I don't always do it well. I like to take my own way sometimes, but trust that God is going to lead us in the right way. So I hope that this word just today reminds us, as the season changes, that, and the cold comes and we're not ready for it. And Weston and I talked about that today in the car on the way to school. Just this reminder that God is present with us always, inside the insides of the insides of our circumstances, and knows us so very well and offers us this path of journey if we have the courage to follow it. So that's our word for today. I hope it's a good word. Hope you get a piece of something from it. Sometimes preachers get accused of preaching to themselves. That's what I did this morning. But I hope that me preaching to me gives a little bit of something for you today. So as always, thanks for joining me. Thanks for carving out time to be with me in your daily life, whatever it is. And I pray you'll come tonight and share in the excitement, the community outreach. Know of God's love and God's presence deep inside your circumstances. And know of my love for you. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.